Hello and good evening, our beloved viewers. You're watching on Live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. Here are the top stories. The launch of National Justice Week under the theme Justice, Proximity and Trust. For the internationals in Middle East, UN adopt 2 resolutions to end the occupation of Palestine. Those were the headlines. Thanks for joining us in our newsroom. Under the high patronage of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the National Justice Week was launched today in Djibouti under the high patronage of the Prime Minister. The Republic of Djibouti launched the National Justice Week today at the People's Palace. This prominent national event aimed to strengthen the rule of law, consolidate justice and judicial transparency, but also bring the judiciary closer to the citizens and their institution. The opening ceremony of the National Justice Week, which runs from December 3 to 10, 2025, under the theme Justice, Proximity and Trust, was attended by high-ranking officials, including the Prime Minister, the Minister of Justice, President Safir Ali Hassan Badon, and President of Supreme Court Jama' Suleiman, along with the selected group of judicial professionals, including judge, courts, lawyers, and legal experts. During this week, a series of activities will be organized to raise public awareness and inform citizens about the work of judicial institution and the ongoing reform in this file. Among the most prominent initiatives, which are open house at the Supreme Court, where the public has the opportunity to learn firsthand about the various judicial service, the public conference and awareness raising. The National Justice Week is part of a reform dynamic launched by the Djiboutian government in order to enhance the effectiveness, transparency and accessibility of judicial service. It also serves as a platform to highlight effort in order to modernize the judicial system, develop the skill and its stakeholders, but also in order to consolidate the rule of law. During his speech, the Chief of Justice of Supreme Court, Mr. Jama' Suleiman, stressed the importance of the theme Justice, Proximity and Trust. Detail with our colleague Dini Musa.
C'est un réel plaisir et un honneur de prendre aujourd'hui la parole.
The President of the Supreme Court, Mr. Jama' Suleiman, took the floor with a speech focused primarily on judicial integrity and the independence of the courts. From the outset, he reminded the audience that the credibility of justice is measured not only by the quality of rulings, but also by the ethical commitment of those who deliver them. He stated that more than ever, Djibouti's judiciary must reaffirm its neutrality, its professionalism, and its resistance to any form of external influence. According to him, this is the foundation upon which citizens can build a genuine confidence in the institution. He described National Justice Week as a rare opportunity to showcase the values of that guide magistrates in their daily work: rigor, impartiality, and responsibility. Mr. Suleiman then addressed the challenge ahead. He noted that the justice system must keep evolving to meet new expectations, including transparency in court procedures, respect for timelines, and improved accessibility for vulnerable groups. He acknowledged that shortcomings still exist, but insisted they are being addressed through targeted reforms and renewed professional discipline. The President also placed strong emphasis on ethical conduct within the judiciary. He explained that strengthening the internal code of conduct, auditing practices, and accountability mechanisms is essential for maintaining public trust. He praised the efforts already undertaking to modernize the Supreme Court and to ensure the judicial decisions are communicated more clearly and constantly. In closing, he called on all judicial actors to embrace a culture of integrity and to work collectively towards a justice system that inspires confidence. He concluded by saying that the path to a stronger judiciary begins not with new buildings or digital tools, but with the unwavering commitment of each magistrate to uphold the values of justice.
For his part, the Minister of Justice and Prisons Affairs, Mr. Ali Hassan Badoum, began by expressing his deep gratitude to the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed for his high patronage and his unwavering commitment to strengthen the rule of law in the Republic of Djibouti. Detail with our colleague Dini Musa.
Mesdames et Messieurs, permettez-moi en premier lieu
The Ministry of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun, centered his address on the transformation of the justice sector in the government's determination to improve public service delivery. He began by stating that justice must evolve at the same pace as society and that outdated procedures can no longer meet the needs of a growing and increasingly informed population. He highlighted several major reform pillars currently underway, among them the digitalization of case management, the expansion of legal aid programs, and the modernization of court infrastructure. These reforms, he argued, are not cosmetic adjustments but deep structural challenges and change designed to reduce delays, enhance transparency, and simplify interactions between citizens and the justice system. The minister emphasized that proximity remains a core priority. He reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to extending legal services beyond the capital, ensuring that citizens in remote regions receive the same level of access. He mentioned the deployment of mobile legal clinics, new regional training programs, and the reinforcement of local mediation efforts as key examples. Furthermore, he addressed human capital, pointing out that no reform can succeed without well-trained and motivated judicial personnel. He announced new training cycles for magistrates and clerks, as well as updated circular to reflect international standards.
For his part, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed also delivered a speech in which he reiterated that justice is one of the most fundamental social cohesion. Detail with our colleague Dini Musa.
Under his high patronage, the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, delivered a speech anchored in the broader vision of national governance. He described justice as a cornerstone of the country's long-term stability, essential for social cohesion, economic development, and institutional credibility. He explained that the government's vision goes beyond improving court performance. It seeks to build a justice ecosystem where every citizen, regardless of region, gender, or social status, feels protected by the law. The Prime Minister stressed that the justice is not an abstract concept, it is a daily guarantee of dignity and fairness. He insisted that the modernization of justice must align with Djibouti's national development agenda. This includes fighting corruption, improving accountability within institutions, and creating an environment where investors, citizens, and international partners all trust the judicial framework. He noted that the government is accelerating digital reforms, supporting legal education, enhancing security within courthouses to reinforce public confidence. The Prime Minister also paid tribute to the men and women working across the sector. He acknowledged the pressure they face, caseloads, public expectations, and the constant need to evolve, but affirmed that their dedication is essential to the nation's progress. He encouraged citizens to participate in National Justice Week activities, stressing that dialogue between institutions and the public is key to strengthening the rule of law. He concluded by reiterating the government's long-term commitment, building a justice system that not only resolves disputes, but also unites the nation around shared principles of fairness, equity, and respect for the law.
It was this morning the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed received the UNICEF representative in Djibouti, who was there to bid her farewell at the end of her term. The UNICEF representative expressed her gratitude to the Djiboutian authorities for the quality of dialogue and the trust they place in her throughout her mission. For his part, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed affirmed the government's commitment to strengthen and deepen cooperation with UNICEF in order to progress in human development, child protection, and climate resilience, he concluded. And in a discussion draft law budget, which said this morning the budgetary from 2024 fiscal year, the Financial, Public Economic and Plenipotentiary Committee, its concluding session on Wednesday, December 3, to dedicate to an depth examination of the draft. The session was chaired by Member of Parliament and the Chairman of Finance, Public Economic, but also the committee attended by the Minister of Budget, Mr. Osman Ibrahim Roble and the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdillah. During this session, the Member of Parliament expressed and exchange the views with a senior official from the Ministry of Budget, focusing on the budgetary issues, implementation, compliance with the state financial procedures, and the commitment of pledge made for 2024 fiscal year following its deliberation. The Djibouti Office Industrial and Commercial ODP has made with the World Intellectual Property Organization organized a national workshop on geographical indication. This workshop brought together national and international experts to strengthen the capacity of stakeholders from the relevant private sector regarding mechanism for protecting and promoting the product associated with the specific geographical origin. This initiative aimed to support Djibouti in establishing the framework for organization and its unique product, enhancing its component and supporting local economic development by strengthening the protection of traditional knowledge. This meeting represents an important step in the national geography for promoting intellectual property and reflection, but also the institution in order keeping pace and international standards of geographical indication. Taking the floor, the Director General of the ODP, in his speech welcomed the participant and emphasized the importance of the national workshop dedicated to geographical indication. He also noted that this meeting represents a decisive moment in Djibouti's effort to strengthen its embody the richness of a country's natural geographical heritage. The director also recalled that geographical situation constitute a strategic tool for protecting traditional know-how and the value of local production. He concluded. In his speech, the Minister of Trade and Tourism, Mr. Mohamed Warsamadiri, highlighted the strategic importance of geographical indication for Djibouti's economic development and emphasized that protecting product roots in specific areas, noting the legal necessity but also the powerful tool for the national heritage and strengthen the local value, conclude the Minister. Djibouti hosted a major regional event yesterday, the ministerial meeting to adopt the IGAD strategy for preventing the pollution for the period 2026-2035. Delegation from member states participate to discuss sure and urgent challenge reducing the pollution of plastic waste in marine and terrestrial ecosystem. By hosting this forum, Djibouti is positioning itself the heart of a collective effort to combat plastic pollution by working hand by hand and implementation frameworks, strengthen national policies, and accelerate the transition to sustainable development models based on the principles of the economic issues. The work of this meeting aligned with IGAD's regional economic, which calls for the protection of ecosystem.
In ocean as well as the giant river basins such as Nile River and Great Lakes and wetlands. This unique ecosystem, resources and services are bedrocks upon which our economies, our culture and future are built. However, our major water bodies in the region, the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, the Indian Ocean, Lake Victoria, and Nile River are becoming sink of plastic pollution, threatening by ecosystem integrity, tourism, and human as well as animal health. Ladies and gentlemen, In this coming 2 days, I wish you fruitful deliberations in reviewing thoroughly and refine this draft regional strategy to technically validate and present it and be ready to be presented for a ministerial adoption.
The Secretary General of the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, Mr. Dini Abdullah Umar, delivered a speech in which he reaffirmed Djibouti's strong commitment to supporting the implementation of this strategy. In his speech, he emphasized the need to strengthen the coordination and noting that plastic pollution is a transboundary phenomenon that can only be addressed through collective action based on innovation, mechanism, and monitoring, but also share the responsibility of the atmosphere and the stakeholder, he concluded. As part of the activities to combat disease vector, the Health Ministry launched a large-scale campaign aimed at eliminating the disease vectors, other insects that are primary vectors of a disease such as malaria and fever by spraying these pesticides inside homes. To this end, teams of sanitation workers and equipped with the spray vehicles sprayed pesticides on homes to effectuate these adult mosquitoes. The goal of this vector control campaign launched at the beginning of this close season is to prevent the spread of disease vector. This campaign is part of an space-based inside the insecticide homes, which at this time aim to destroy mosquitoes bringing the sites. In a statement, an official from the Ministry of Health, in his speech, he said that this awareness session are also being concluded and conducted within the communities on environmental health and hygiene issues such as the segment water pools or covering water contained. In addition, the Ministry of Health recommend that the stakeholders protect themselves from mosquitoes bites, particularly by using the spraying under long-lasting insecticide nets. Under the high auspice of the Director of Ali Sabih Region Hospital, Ahmed Absiye, and also organize a large-scale blood donation drive in clinic in village of Ali Adde last weekend. This initiative is part of the broader effort to bringing the healthcare closer to the local population, especially those in village in the remote areas. The initiative provide eye consultation and examination, as well as health awareness program for both local resident and refugees. Project serving integration. This work undertaken by the official from Ali Sabih region is part of project implemented since 2023. Djibouti Taekwondo Federation conducts the training course for national coach on November 24, held from November 14 to 24, a multi-purpose hall in Guled Stadium. The course was filled the Olympic Solidarity Program in collaboration with Djibouti National Olympic and Support and the Sports Committee, and under the auspice of the State Secretariat for sport. The course was led by Congolese coach and attended by the approximately 30 young coach of the National League. Over 10 days, participants followed and in the combining modern taekwondo innovation. The training cover basic and semi-complex for the taekwondo sparring techniques or with then targets confrontation management. In Tejora region, the custom division of Tejora region, in collaboration with the police, seized 9,000 kilogram of contraband cart, and the prefecture of Tejora made the operation was immediately carried out to destroy the cat. The means of transport was seized. And now moving on to the international scene, the United Nations adopted two resolutions to end the occupation of Palestine and the Golan Heights. The United Nations General Assembly adopted two resolutions on Tuesday calling for an end to the Israeli occupation both Palestine and Syrian Golan Heights. The draft resolution concerning Palestine was submitted by Jordan, Mauritania, Qatar, Senegal, Djibouti, and the State of Palestine. 151 countries voted in favor of the text, while 11 countries, including Israel and the United States, voted against it, and 11 abstained. The resolution reaffirmed the responsibility of the United Nations in the Palestine question and called for an end to the Israeli occupation. And the African victims for the tourism raised their voice in the international conference in Rabat, an international conference dedicated to support the terrorism in Africa, organized by the Kingdom of Morocco and the United Nations, has commended the Rabat under the theme supporting victims of terrorism in Africa. This event is the first of its kind to place victims and survivors at the heart of official discussion on combating terrorism. The conference brings together African ministers and official experts and civil society organizations to create a platform of experience on central role victims and the encountering the terrorism in Africa. And now the environmentalists condemn deforestation as the devastating flood. Environmental activities said that widespread deforestation and intensive exploitation of natural resources in Indonesia, severe flooding that strike this week, a rare tropical storm accompanied by torrential landslide over flooding river and widespread damage. According to the activities, decline in forests have made a slope more prone in collapse in these areas. This is it for this edition. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening.